a music. Do you have it? Our Friday Goofy one? I don't
think we have any music on. Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, you know what?
Dude, I don't know if I can handle the funky music after last night.
I don't think I can, man. I slept so hard. What is up, everybody? Welcome in to the DNVR Nuggets podcast. Very casual edition of Casual Friday.
Thank God.
We needed a casual one.
Man.
You look very formal, though. You look as good as always.
Well, I'm not going to wear shorts on the show. We know that.
We do know that.
So, yeah. I mean, just down a little bit.
Just me and Harrison Wynn today. D-Line Co. might be joining us a little bit later for a little bit. And then at the end of the show, we are going to have Brendan Vogt phone us in and talk to us about what everybody's saying on the interwebs. You know, the day after, everybody gives draft grades. It's funny because draft grades are there's a lot of really dumb exercises we do. The number one dumbest exercise we do, and when I say we, I mean media, like the entire conglomerate of media, not necessarily us. Number one dumbest thing we do is analyze people's legacies game by game. Right? Yes. So, like, okay, what does game 2 of the finals mean for Giannis's legacy? And it's like, what? I don't know. The second dumbest thing we do is draft grades. They're no different than what they were like the before. Now
you could give a pre-draft, like mock draft grade and be the same thing as a post-draft grade.
It'd be funny, actually, if I'll bet somebody out there has done a mock draft where they're like, Bones Hyland goes to the Nuggets. That's the best fit. The next day, draft grades. Bones Hyland, C-. What are we doing? Wait, what? What are we doing here?
Right.
But anyway, draft grades, a lot of people kind of give their thoughts on Bones as well as just how they think that he fits with the Nuggets. If you missed yesterday, it's really a two-parter. There is the live draft show that I highly recommend, especially the intro, but also it's just fun to kind of go through and look at our reactions to the different picks and some of the guests we had on. We had Kristen Peek, who I thought was fantastic. We had Marcus Howard on. We had Swipe Cam. You want to go check all of those out, but then we also had the draft wrap-up show, which if you don't want to get all the live reactions to the other players, you just want to see what we thought in the immediate sort of
aftermath
of the pick, then you can go and check out that one. But today we now have fresh eyes. Went home and slept. Felt great.
Slept great.
Man, I honest to God have not been. It was dangerous driving home. How tired I was.
Yeah. So we were on the air for like 6 hours straight.
It was a long time, man.
So we pretty much played a back-to-back.
We played a back-to-back.
We played a back-to-back without any rest in between.
That Jared, Jimmy Butler where he's like in the bubble? That was me. Last night when I got home, I was just like, wow, man.
Exhausting. Now I know what these guys go through when they go through back-to-backs.
I left it all on the court last night. Left it all on the court. But today there's some news up on the Nuggets' Summer League. We're going to talk about, they've added a couple names to the Summer League. That'll be interesting. But mostly I want to continue to talk about Bones Hyland. You know, we had obviously scouted him pre-draft. We had some things to say about him last night. But I know that for me today, this morning, very eager to get back into the Bones Hyland footage. Mm-hmm. And when I say footage, I mean basketball footage, rap career footage, all of it. I got into all the footage tonight.
Did you get into the video of him like trash talking that one guy on some random court in Delaware?
Like from 4 years ago?
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie, not going to lie. Unimpressive. Very unimpressive. Now, he was like 17 or 16 at the time, but I watched that and I'm like, oh my God, it's terrible basketball. I mean, he hits a lot of crazy shots, but I'm like, let me just start with this like easy, basic question. Just since last night, you know, what is sort of your updated thoughts or details or any of that you have on Bones Hyland?
Yeah, I mean, I love the pick when it happened. I still love the pick. And I think what a lot of it comes down to for me is you can definitely see why the Nuggets picked this guy. Like, Tim Connelly drafts for obviously how good of a basketball player that guy is, trumps everything.
Right.
That's the number one thing him and any team looks for. But we know this with the Nuggets and Tim Connelly. The type of person that they bring into the organization is very important. And Bones Hyland, you got this in the post-draft interview he did last night. We've got this, I think, speaking with members of the front office, just texting with them. He is the classic type of guy that the Nuggets like to bring into the organization. He's all about basketball. He lives, breathes, and sleeps basketball. It's like his number one focus all the time. He's just an absolute gamer. He's so competitive every time he gets out on the court. He just kind of fits the mold of player, the mold of person, even more so that the Nuggets want to bring in.
No question about it. I mean, he is incredibly likable.
Yeah.
Incredibly likable just as a person. And and a real hooper. I mean, I think that's part of this is that he's a guy that just loves eats, sleeps, drinks basketball. He's always thinking about that. And I would say, with all of these things, about him being a great teammate up off the bench, like first guy to be waving a towel type guy, I think he just genuinely likes hoops and doesn't really care for. I heard one report that maybe when his freshman season he was so good that some of the upperclassmen who he was stealing minutes from were a little jealous or this or that, and he was like surprised by it, kind of like, hey man, we're just here to hoop. Like,
right.
Do you not like it the same way I like it? There's like these weird other things you guys care about. So I think he's a pure hooper in that sense, and that he just likes the game. Definitely comes off as young at heart.
Yes.
And I mean, he is young. This is by no means a knock on him, but it's funny. I always tell the story. I probably overtell it, but Jamal Murray, when he used to throw candy at Michael Malone as a freshman, and it was just one of those things where the only person that didn't realize how young Jamal Murray was as a freshman or as a rookie was Jamal Murray. And now you grow up. This is how I feel seeing Bones. I'm like, wow, he's a lot younger than all the rest of the guys at heart.
Yeah. He seems to me like a guy who just loves life. He lives life to the fullest every single opportunity that he gets. He's an incredibly positive person, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think you're ever going to see Bones Hyland moping around on the basketball court or off it. He just has a great spirit about him. And it's funny, like, remember when Nuggets signed Nick Young a couple years ago? They brought him in because, A, they had a rotation that was ravaged by injuries, absolutely ravaged, and they just needed somebody. But B, I don't remember what the Nuggets record was in that stretch, but they were down. They had lost a couple games. The vibes were terrible around the team at that time. And from talking to people, a reason they brought Nick Young in specifically, because they needed to lift the collective spirit of the team.
Interesting.
They needed to change the vibes around the team. And that's exactly what Nick Young did.
Yeah.
He lit a fire under the team when he got there. And he was only on a 10-day contract. I think it's a similar effect that Bones could have. When Bones is just around a group of guys, he's going to lift the spirit of that group.
This really reminds me of actually Jokic's rookie season. And this came from my interview with Will Barton, a documentary I did with him years back. But he talked about his first impression of Jokic. And he's like, he was just happy to be there.
Yeah.
He was so energetic. He kept handing out waters. And like, he was like, who is this guy? It's like Will Barton said, it's the dog days of training camp. Nobody's really excited to be there because it's just hard work with no reward. And here's Jokic all excited and positive. And I thought, that was Jokic's young at heart. Back then he didn't know he was going to be an MVP. Even him, he was just like happy to be there, wanted to bring the energy. And I wonder if Bones can have a similar sort of impact on this team. Just that energy, which by the way, they kind of need.
Totally.
Denver has a lot of quiet guys. They kind of need somebody to be the loud voice in the locker room. And maybe if it's a rookie, you could be the loud voice and be like the annoying, hey, you're just a rookie, you don't know what you're doing. Or you could be the one that's just like, in Shawshank Redemption when the young guy comes in and all the old guys love him or whatever. It kind of could be like that. He comes in. What a weird reference that was. What a weird reference.
But, I don't really have much expectations for Bones Hyland his rookie year. And we can get into that later. But we touched on it a little last night even. But he's probably going to spend a lot of time in the G League. But I could see a situation similar to the Nick Young situation. Like, they brought in Nick Young. That was the dog days of the regular season. I think it was like February or March or something, too. They just needed some renewed spirit. They needed to uplift the team. I could see the Nuggets being like, all right, we're like in a rut right now. We need a change of pace. We need somebody to lighten up the locker room. Let's bring Bones up from the G League and just see what happens. Like I could see him coming up in that type of scenario.
One of the funny things that came out of yesterday, it's adjacent to this, on Altitude Radio actually today, Tim Conley says that Jokic texted him last night and was like, hey, can you tell me about this guy? Send me some film. Which, first of all, do you think, honest question, do you think Jokic does this? And we could probably find the answer out to this. Do you think he did this every year? Do you think last year he's like, send me RJ Hampton and Zeke Naji tape?
Yeah.
I wonder if it's new or if it's newish.
I bet he did it.
I bet he's just curious, like, all right, who are these? Because there's no way he's watching VCU.
Well, I was more surprised he was watching the draft in the first place.
That's
or maybe
true.
he wasn't even watching the draft.
He didn't watch his own draft.
Right. Maybe somebody texted him and they're like, oh, did you see you guys got Bones Hyland? And he was like, who?
Well, this is what is hilarious, though, about that is he could have also just looked up Bones Hyland on YouTube. Presumably, he knows how to use YouTube. So he's like,
presumably.
He's like, send me the stuff. I don't want to save me the Google.
Yeah.
It's like, does anybody know the capital of Sri Lanka? And you're like, you can also Google that. Are you asking me to Google it for you? Because no, you could do it. Yeah. So it's kind of funny in that way.
What do you think he thought of Bones Hyland?
I was going to ask you this question, but all right, you put me on the spot. So interesting, man. I have no idea. I think he probably looks at him as like, yep, it's a young guy.
Yeah, he's a young guy. He's not going to play a lot. I'll worry about him in a year.
Yeah. He probably will forget about him maybe until like trading camp rolls around or
He's
something.
probably a little confused about the nickname Bones.
You think?
Probably.
No way.
Do you think the nickname Bones like translates like he gets it?
Oh, you think it's like skeleton or something?
Yeah. He's like what?
No way, man. You could tell Bones is like the most appropriate nickname for him. No, I think, I don't know. I've honestly been thinking a little bit about this. Like, what does Jokic think about this pick? It's a kind of an interesting thing. We've never thought about Jokic as a guy. There was another report I saw with Golden State when they had the 14th pick. Their second pick was up. Apparently, the front office members are texting back and forth with Draymond, and they texted him something, and he texts back, Moody. And then they take Moody, and then he texts back with a thumbs up. So, like, it's kind of funny that Draymond Green, who, first of all, is a basketball genius.
I heard the Warriors are actually trying to trade him for Duarte, but never mind. That's another discussion for another day. But don't tell Draymond that.
Oh, they were trying to trade Draymond for Duarte.
No, Moody.
Oh, Moody for Duarte. Maybe. I know. Yeah, maybe. I could see it. But Moody's a great pick, too. But Draymond is, he's a high basketball IQ, and also he's a guy that, obviously, he recruited Kevin Durant. He's very involved. He's like a player that, even though he's not the star, the front office, for whatever reason, Bob Myers and company feel like they should text with him about free agency and this or that. And I just wonder, like, I've never, ever, ever thought about Jokic as that guy. And I don't think he was to that degree, but it is kind of funny that it was like, hey, I want to hear about our new guy.
I mean, look, Michael Malone doesn't play rookies a lot. Nikola Jokic obviously knows that. So I bet he was like, oh, this guy looks cool. Yeah. I'll worry about him in a year. But I bet one thing that Yoke did pick up on, or maybe Tim texted him this, or maybe somebody else from the front office texted him this, Bones Hyland will be a great bench warmer. Like, he's a very active bench warmer, like cheering, giving guys high fives, sprinting out to half court during a timeout.
I think you've got something with this, him giving energy to, and they needed it. I mean, the team needed a shot in the arm this year, and of course, we all think about that as a shot in the arm on the court, which they do need. Like, they need that, and Bones, I don't think, will be that. But they also just needed it from some levity, and I do wonder if he can help provide a little bit of that. Just like, hey, I know Michael Porter, this is a stressful year for you. You're trying to make the leap. I know Jokic, you're tired from last year. Like, you bring in a guy that just makes it fun again in a new way, and maybe that gives some life to it. So I'm hopeful for that. Guys, in the comments here, Kale, keep your eye on some comments. If you guys have questions for us, bring us your questions today. We want to kind of get to everything that's on your guys' mind about this. We're going to take a break here, but on the other side of the break, I want to get to the depth chart for the Nuggets. Now we turn our attention to free agency, which is all along the trade market. Free agency was going to be the big ones for the Nuggets. In segment 2, we'll kind of do a quick overview of the depth chart and just kind of look at what's going to be available to the Nuggets. But send us your questions. We'll answer those as well.
So at Solace Med, you guys have a couple days. Actually, it's July 30th. So these deals are running out quick. Make sure to get on these deals for July. All Wana 25% off. All Green Dot concentrates 20% off. Tons and tons of deals. Always, though, no matter what month it is, you can get 20% off at Solace Meds at all 4 of their Colorado locations with the code DNVR20. So stop into their location in Fort Collins. They got one in Wheat Ridge. They've got one off Broadway. They've got one just right next to the DNVR bar on East Colfax as well. Use the code DNVR20. Just drop that code when you're at checkout. You will get 20% off your purchase. Awesome deal there from Solace Meds. And at Green Mountain Dental right now, you guys can schedule a cleaning, x-ray, and exam. Get a free Sonicare toothbrush, a top-of-the-line electric toothbrush, the one that most dentists recommend. My dentist recommended it. You can get one for free. All you got to do is schedule a cleaning, x-ray, and exam with Green Mountain Dental Group. They are located just 15 minutes from downtown Denver. And a lot of us here at DNVR, we go there to get our teeth cleaned. So check them out, Green Mountain Dental Group today. Get a free Sonicare toothbrush when you schedule a cleaning, x-ray, and exam. You know what we didn't mention in the first segment that I just have to get to? Big fan of Bones Hyland's music. Yeah.
Big fan. Honest to God,
I wasn't expecting this take.
I wasn't expecting it either, to be honest with you. But you go back, you watch a lot of these guys that do like rap videos or this, especially when they're like high school, college age, and they make them
right.
Low quality, terrible,
very high production value.
High production value,
yeah.
Incredible. Even the auto-tune, like the hooks, I'm feeling them.
Yeah.
Like he's just so charismatic. I'm watching the videos and I'm like, dude, this guy rules.
So I know I said on the draft show he was in the top 2 of rappers.
Number 1.
I'm ready to put him at
You're
number 1.
bumping him to number 1.
He's up
Sorry.
to number 1 now.
Oh man, Will Barton's definitely not coming back now. He's like, these dudes don't
That's
even.
a challenge to Will Barton to get back in the booth.
Yeah, get back, maybe together. You know,
Sure.
They have a connection. I'm told they're friends.
Sure.
So who knows? But his music's actually, I really dig it, man. And you're right. The production value of him. You're watching. There's like 20 of them.
Yeah.
It's not usually. It's like 1 or 2 videos and then whatever. No, he's got like 20 music videos. It's incredible.
Yeah.
So you're gonna want to check that out. I want to do a quick pure hooper ranking because he is. It's funny. I was thinking about this, but so many of Tim Conley's picks, pure hoopers.
Right. They've got some pure hoopers and some unpure hoopers, I think.
Well, first of all, that was a week ago that there was the hooper versus basketball player. It is the dumbest thing, but it also kind of makes sense. Even if it's like a false parameters, it's still, you would know what to mean. A hooper is somebody that like just plays ball. Like they're like a one-on-one street ball. You could do whatever. Like they're just a whatever. But then a basketball player, am I getting this wrong? A basketball player is more like.
I think you're getting it right, but it's just ridiculous.
It's just ridiculous. A basketball player is maybe, it's not though. Let me say this. Let me say one thing. Most people's relationship to the game of basketball is through hooping. What I mean by that is most people played high school or below and have played pickup. In pickup, you've got one-man game, like one-on-one, and you might have two-man game. But there is no 3-man game. There's no 5. Like nobody's spacing the court and reading things right. Even pro-ams. I played in pro-ams. Same thing. Like you're still getting 2-man, maybe 3-man game at most, but not. Basketball is like the 5-man. Like, hey, how do you read and react to this or that? This is why Giannis is a basketball player, not a hooper. Because I'm sure if you got him one-on-one, it'd be disgusting. You'd be like, oh, that's not even cool to watch. But if you get him on a basketball court, it works. It seems like the Nuggets have a lot of hoopers.
They do. They do for sure. Tim Conley had this great quote last night where he said that Bones Hyland has this flexibility and creativity to his game that's not super common right now. He's a guy who you can tell grew up on the playground, playing on playgrounds, playing a lot of basketball, 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-3.
Right.
And it's so true, man. He does. I love that. He's got a flexibility and creativity to his game. And it's so, so true. He's got this shiftiness about him that not a lot of guys have. I think Will Barton has something similar, and he is a hooper. He's also a guy who grew up playing on a lot of playgrounds, 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-3. So they're very similar in that aspect, I think.
Will Barton is the guy that he reminds me of so much. They're different, Barton's longer or whatever, Bones a little bit more of a shooter, but it does in that I think what he's talking about is you watch the tape, especially of his finishes more than anything, but his finishes are a lot of shots that you think he probably never practiced that shot. It's not, some guys come from the school where it's like we work on this one type of layup or this one type of thing and everything's mechanical. Bones seems like a guy that grew up instead playing a ton of one-on-one and a ton of the style, so it's all just pure reaction and touch. Like it's not innate, but it's a talent that you develop. So when you have to do a layup you've never tried before, you're pretty good at it just because you have natural body control.
Right. It's not exactly this, but it's almost like he never does the same exact layup twice.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Like,
right.
Sure, he does, but everything's just a little different.
Right.
The arm placement's just a little different. How he takes off is just a little different. The angle he takes is a little different every time.
Probably makes him a more high variance player, a la a Will Barton. But I don't think that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like his shot, not high variance. I think it's actually very consistent.
Yeah.
It's just his moves. Like, he just makes moves that are not necessarily like some players have 3 moves or 1 move or whatever, and maybe like little derivatives of them.
Jab step,
yeah,
cross.
and even Carmelo is a bit this way, right? Like he's great footwork, but it's always consistent. It's like textbook. And then you have players that are a little bit more just like off the top of the head. It's completely
It's like
improvised.
Unpredictable versus what's been teached.
Right. I think taught. Yeah, I think that's a good one. All right, the Hoopers power ranking though on the Nuggets. Who's the number 1 Hooper?
Well, it's either Bones or Will Barton, right?
Come on, man. Bones is just entering the league.
So it's Will.
Will Barton's the first hooper. I mean, he's a pure hooper.
Yeah,
he's like 100% hooper.
Yeah. So it's Will.
Okay. This doesn't mean, by the way, who would win in a one-on-one. This is like this weird dichotomy. Who's the number 2 hooper? It's tough.
It's a good question.
There's a guy not on the roster that I think is number 2, but he's like maybe baby. He just finished on the roster. I think Austin Rivers might be the number 2 hooper.
Really?
He's a hooper, man.
I mean, yes.
Crossover. What's his game? His game is like crazy moves and
I don't know if I agree with that. Austin Rivers has had like private basketball coaches drilling in the same moves to him.
Of course, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. His game is like dog eat dog. Like, hey, let's go at each other here.
I mean, from that aspect, yes, but unpredictability, I wouldn't say Austin Rivers
He's got
is
2 moves.
unpredictable.
He's got 2 moves.
He's
crossover
got the step
go.
back in the crossover.
That's so true. All right, so you don't like him.
I'd probably put Bones second.
All right, Bones might be second. He's definitely a pure hooper.
Nuggets might actually not have that many pure hoopers.
Oh, they do. They do. I think Jamal Murray is a hooper.
Yeah?
I think Jamal Murray has a lot of this too. Yes, he has his moves that he likes, but there's a lot in his game where you're kind of like, he's just improvising. Like, where was he going? Do you remember his great play against the Jazz in the bubble where he kind of hesitates, goes back, forth, left, right, and then he ends up getting a wide open inside. No, it's a wide open layup he ends up getting, but like inside hand or something. And then I think that's like when he like looks at the camera and does like a ooh, whatever. But like that move wasn't a move.
Sure.
It was like 8 improvisations in a row.
He's got a lot of improvisation to his game. PJ Dozier?
No, I don't know. I mean, he is a hooper, but
he's not
next on my list.
Who is next on your list?
Michael Porter. He's a hooper. Is he like?
I feel like we have different definitions of hoopers.
Is he like a fundamentally sound basketball player? No, he's working on it. But is he a bucket that like, are you going to play one-on-one? He knows what to do. Absolutely.
Right. But is he like creative?
He just shoots. Like he just scored.
I wouldn't call him creative in the same way that Bones Hyland is creative.
Bones Hyland is creative, but I'm just saying you're talking about guys who the end of the spectrum of one-on-one basketball versus the end of the spectrum that are like where to go on a team and this or that. Like Michael Porter, great one-on-one player.
Yeah. Oh, if you're talking about one-on-one, basketball versus team.
Shot making.
Porter can get
scoring,
a bucket against anybody.
Scoring, for sure.
My definition of hooper is somebody who's like creative, who's super unpredictable, who's like really crafty with the ball. No 2 moves look the exact same.
You're thinking just like playground, New York playground guys. But I think like some hoopers are just like they're guys that like Kevin Durant is a hooper, but he's also a great shooter. But he's like that's why he went to Rucker Park. You can imagine like LeBron James at Rucker Park. Cool, dominant, no question, but not like Kevin Durant was where it was 60 points or whatever. Like that's his comfort zone. I think Michael Porter's similar. You go put him at Rucker Park, he probably is going to drop 50 points. Because he's just gonna. That's what he wants. He's not passing the ball at all. He knows what to do in that setting.
No, I agree with that.
So, I want to pull up. Oh, it looks like we have Brendan Vogt. Okay, we can bring Vogt in. We can do depth chart later. It looks like he's ready to go. Why don't we welcome in? What do we got? You get to see what it's like on the other end of the interview here, Vogt.
What's up, fellas? How we doing? You didn't have to rush me in, but I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, good, man. Did you already do your research on the grades for the Nuggets?
I've got a fair amount. As you guys know, often you can hit the control function search, just type in Denver Nuggets, and get absolutely nothing. But I did find plenty to talk about, guys. And I'll just say, without spoiling, on a general note, I don't think anyone hated this pick. I mean, it's maybe Ryan Blackburn, but nationally, I don't know if anyone did.
I saw a lot of pushback on Nuggets Twitter for this pick. I really did.
Yeah, like Twitter, like fans.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, we talked ourselves into the Springer McBride mold, right, as a community. And so, again, it's almost like our reaction to Zeke last year. It's not so much, this is a bad pick. It's just a different direction than everyone had prepared themselves for.
Who was our guy last year? Do you remember who like the consensus Nuggets fans like guy was? Because it wasn't RJ or Zeke, but I can't remember.
I really liked RJ Hampton. I remember that, but I didn't necessarily know if he was going to be the guy.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people liked Bane, but I don't know if he was the number
Bane
one.
Was definitely Bane was definitely up there. I can't remember. So anyway, point is that doesn't matter. Whatever the people were saying. But I am curious. So before we get to what everybody's grades were for this vote, just having a night to sleep on it. We talked about Jokic asking for highlights. Do you have any like different takes or different thoughts on him now that you've kind of digested it and maybe done a little more research?
Yeah, I mean, I think the notion of him playing right away is a lot more on the table than I was sort of treating it last night, especially given the way the free agency picture has to shake out and all that. But look, if there's just a path to him getting minutes as a backup too, whether he's in the rotation or not. Also, I convinced myself last night that it was about fit, but how many people say you just have to take the best player available, right? I mean, so I think they got, maybe they viewed him that way. They got an electric offensive talent. And so, yeah, I'm excited to see how it plays out. Again, I don't know. It would have been very nice to add McBride or Springer, but if we're talking about this year, next year, like, do those guys push you over the top anyway? I don't know. So if Tim really likes Bones that much, then I think you just take him and you trust Tim's eye for that talent.
One interesting thing Tim did say on the Altitude Radio today was that this draft was especially difficult to nail down because of how weird the college season was. So I wonder if there's just a lot more variance. I mean, we saw the mock drafts were way off. I wonder if there's just more variance on intel. Like these front offices feel less. Tim almost seemed to be saying he felt less confident about the scouting this year because of how limited the scouting was.
And it's funny, man. Like, we thought Jaden Springer looked like a good prospect.
Yeah.
He didn't end up going in the first round.
Yeah.
So a lot of teams did not think
it wasn't just the Nuggets. Yeah.
And I don't think the Nuggets were in love with Jaden Springer, obviously, because it seemed like he had a lot of skills that the Nuggets could need, perimeter defense, just that kind of two-guard mold. But, I mean, that's one that seems like a lot of people in the scouting community were off on.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's get into these. Go ahead.
Or right? Time will tell. But just as far as
sure.
how teams viewed them, and it's always important to remember that disparity between, some of the people that we talk to every day about this stuff, and then those people who are in the war room who maybe we're not always talking to. So
let's go ahead and go through this. Who do you have? Like, what roundups do you have? Where do you want to start?
Let's start with. Oh, where did my notes go? Hang on a second. And I found them. Okay. Let's go with Brad Rowland from Uprocks.
Okay.
Love Brad.
He gave this a B-, writing Hyland should be a lot of fun with Nikola Jokic. He's a heck of a shooter with the ability to score at every level and fire with deep range. That's his calling card, but he's very creative and should be an entertaining scorer overall. He does have to get bigger. That will be his challenge defensively. If he can do that, he'll have a long career, and this pick will be strong.
So a knock against Bones is he's super skinny, right?
Of course.
He's Bones Hyland. I mean,
Right.
He's been super skinny forever. The Nuggets have a very good strength and conditioning program. I mean, look what they've been able to do to Nikola Jokic. Look how big Michael Porter is. I think the Nuggets have a better than average strength program. So
I think that has more to do with the player, though, to be honest with you. Like, you can have those great programs. Miami is the only team I know that, like, grabs people's belly fat and, like you have to come into camp or else they're going to make you just do this. But other than that, like, it's more about are you or are you not motivated to work on your body?
It's about that, but it's also about the environment that you're in.
Sure. Yeah.
And the Nuggets have an environment where the MVP goes and lifts weights after every game.
Yeah.
That's going to filter down to everyone. That's going to filter down to Bones. So
You think we can get Bones on the Vlatko Chanchar Vlatko workout plan?
maybe.
Can you imagine?
It's interesting, too, because you're going to have to thread the needle a little bit. I mean, that body type is also part of what allows him to play the way he does. It's a very flexible, it's a slender sort of herky-jerky thing, and you obviously want to add to a frame without sacrificing that mobility.
I don't think he's capable of getting to be too big that that's going to happen. Like, honestly, he's going to be a Will Barton body where even if he gets stronger, you're almost not going to even see it that much.
Yeah,
Although I will think back to Malik Beasley, who broke his leg in college and was, if you remember, Malik Beasley, go back and look at his rookie season media day pictures. He is scrawny. Or summer league even. He was scrawny. He didn't play, but he was there.
Yeah.
Scrawny. And now you look at him and he's pretty strong, like he just took his body insanely serious. So Bones, step number one for his development is he just has to focus on the weight room, unlike he ever has before.
Right.
And that has to, in many ways, real hoopers sometimes just love to be in the gym. Maybe not the weight room. He's going to have to be in the weight room first.
Yeah.
Before every workout.
He's going to have to pick up some basketball player tendencies. Just a couple.
A couple basketball player tendencies for sure. All right, so Brad Rowland, does he have anything else to say?
No, that's the breakdown.
Okay.
I like how they give out grades, but they don't say like why it's a B-.
Well, one of them I have here. Literally, there's no copy. There's just a letter.
Hell yeah!
Great analysis,
I respect that level of bullet point detail. Yeah.
Hey, let's just get that one out of the way. Alex Ballantyne, Bleacher Report, B. That's it.
Great.
Okay,
love it, man. I love it. That's my type of work.
Yeah, that's like me on this show. Like, what do you even do? Okay, Kevin O'Connor of TheRinger.com, A-.
Oh, I knew I loved Kevin.
With Jamal Murray expected to miss most of next season, Hyland makes perfect sense. Bones is a dynamic scoring guard who can drain threes from way beyond the arc and immediately inject some life into Denver's backcourt. Hyland isn't just some chucker, though. He's an excellent spot-up shooter and a mover without the ball. There is potential for him to develop that type of cohesion with Jokic that we've seen other guards have. And by other guards, we mean everyone that's not Emmanuel Mudiay. So probably.
Kevin O'Connor, Hooper.
So it's interesting because Kevin mentioned it in that, and we talked about it on the show last night with Jamal Murray being out. Like maybe this gives Bones Hyland a pathway to playing. I've gotten the impression that like the Nuggets have zero expectations for what he's going to do
100%.
next year. Tim even kind of tempered expectations a little bit last night on the call and pretty much said his contributions as a rookie are going to come down to Michael Malone and his staff. So from that, I mean, Michael Malone never plays rookies. You can go that angle. But also he mentioned that we got a lot of depth at that position. We got a really good team. We got a lot of pieces in place already. So I don't have a lot of expectations for Bones Hyland next season, even though the Nuggets are going to be without their starting point guard for a while.
Right. I don't think he plays, honestly. I would be so surprised. If he play, I would be as surprised for him playing as I was Marcus Howard, which is to say only if it's an absolute everybody gets in.
Marcus Howard was a 4-year player in college.
Right.
I'm just saying, guys, there was depth at the position last year, and R.J. Hampton, who they also did not have those early expectations for, was playing. And so if Will Barton doesn't re-sign rather, like it really only takes one or two injuries before you're looking around going, where can we get a spark? And I'm not saying he'll be a polished player or ready to help anyone in the playoffs, but I do think like, it's February. No one's playing with a lot of energy. There's a couple injuries. Yeah, you throw them in there, a la RJ. So.
Yeah. All right. What's the next one?
Okay. The next one is, drum roll, Ben Rohrbach of Yahoo Sports, B-. The Nuggets lost some scoring punch in their backcourt behind the injured point. Did you guys hear that Jamal Murray towards ACL?
I did. Yeah, I heard that one.
And when they traded Malik Beasley in February of 2020, and Hyland has the ability to fill that role for a team still on the rise. His range should complement an established star-studded core if he can hold his own on defense.
People have this weird obsession with the Malik Beasley trade still to this day. Don't you get that sense, the Malik Beasley trade? It's like always brought up. And they traded Malik Beasley a couple years ago and got nothing. Like,
Malik Beasley's in jail right now. I feel like that. Isn't he, or is he, or wasn't he serving a 120-day jail sentence after the season? I just feel like that doesn't get brought up enough when people go. The Nuggets moved on from Malik Beasley. Like, he
don't want to be here. It's like people just don't know the story.
Yeah.
Fact check me on that, internet, but I think I know he had there was at one point a 120-day sentence on the table. Keep it moving though. Ricky O'Donnell, SB Nation, he gives it an A. Hyland is a 6'3" guard who emerged as a slippery ball handler and
6'3". Let's go. He's getting taller. Yes.
And dangerous pull-up shooter during his sophomore season at VCU. He's one of the best pure bucket getters in this class with deep range on his jumper. Hyland hit 40% of his threes on 331 attempts throughout his 2 years in college. He's good at getting into passing lanes, forcing turnovers on the defensive end. He should be a great fit next to Jokic and will add more firepower as Jamal Murray recovers from injury.
Just a quick fact check. I did check for Brennan Vogt, and he is indeed jail. He started serving a 120-day sentence on June 9th.
You're talking about Beasley, yeah.
Malik Beasley. He is currently in jail.
Yeah, it's a little wild. Just for reference here, Kyrie Irving, 6'2", Damian Lillard, 6'1". Like, it's not unprecedented. It's funny we have it in our head, this idea of like, we wish everybody was 6'5" so you could switch. And I do think that's by far the most ideal. But it's not like there aren't all-star caliber players that are his height. And by the way, Damian Lillard, shorter wingspan than Bones Hyland. So
Bones Hyland, 6'9" wingspan.
That's insane, actually. It's actually a really wild wingspan for a guy 6'2" or 6'3".
And Trae Young, too. Just as far as the guys who do pull up from like really, really deep, and that's their bread and butter. I mean, he's not like comically small. It's just the frame. It's the frame, right? Like, what will he be able to do on the defensive end?
And defensively, by the way, he did get a lot of steals. You know, I still think defensively he's going to have some, like, he has to get stronger and a lot stronger. Yeah. Not just a little bit. He has to get a lot stronger because that's a huge, you see the weakness videos of him, right? And, oh, my God, he gets blown by so easily. But so I do think that there's real concerns about it, but he is long. I think he can play passing lanes. I think he can shoot the gap. He's kind of built like DeJounte Murray in some ways. I think DeJounte Murray a little bit taller and a little bit wider of a wingspan. He's like even more of an outlier there. But Bones Hyland, I think, can sneak up on guys with that reach.
Jeremy Woo, Sports Illustrated, B+. In addition to having one of the better nicknames in recent basketball history, thank you, Jeremy, for being the first person to fucking include that in your grade. It's very important. Hyland was a riser in the pre-draft process and earned a first-round spot with impressive shot-making displays behind closed doors. The Nuggets were looking at scoring guards here, and Hyland was the choice, with his ability to make the tough shots a likely separator. Denver has a solid track record of identifying potential role players, and Hyland could develop into a unique, entertaining piece for them. After flying somewhat under the radar at VCU, his best basketball may be ahead of him.
Yeah, nice. Everybody's high on him. All right, is there anybody lower?
B- is the lowest grade I saw, fellas.
Wow, B-. All right, we got any more?
I don't subscribe to The Athletic because they don't cover the Nuggets full time. Shout out Nick, though, who's awesome. But, so I don't know what they said. Gary Parrish and Kyle Boone of CBS Sports, B+. He was a little outside my top 30, but a lot of people respect had him in this range. He's a scoring guard who should be able to shoot with NBA range. I'll help you out, Gary or Kyle. He can shoot with NBA range. But yeah, they like the pick as well. Alex Ballantyne, we already talked about, just so much to say. He gave it a B. Mike D. Corsi of Sporting News, B. The first thing that came to mind when the Nuggets selected him was this. If a baseball flies farther at altitude, does that mean Bones has an even greater range as a shooter? I'm sorry, what? Because he's already
technically, yes.
Because he's already comfortable firing a 30-footer as some players are attempting a layup. In a league that values shooting more than ever, a player who truly has disruptive range, like Trae Young or Stephen Curry, can make a terrific difference. Hyland will not have that sort of career, but he can be a terrific weapon for a team that knows how to score.
Yeah. Man, I love how he's uniting Bones Hyland. Hooper, real Hoopers know Twitter, analytics Twitter. This is great stuff.
I don't see a grade on The Athletic. I just see a little write-up. John Hollinger would have picked Jared Butler or Deuce McBride, though.
Okay, interesting.
That's all it really
Chad,
says.
I think looks like Chad Ford gave it an A, according to a commenter.
Okay.
I might have been on the live show last night. I didn't see that out there. That's all I got for now, guys. But it the point is, I mean, it's B- and up. Like no one seems to really dislike this pick.
Well, there you go, man. It's kind of interesting to see such positivity. I think Bones is just a guy that everybody likes, and you almost forget
Very
about
likable.
the pick. If I forget about the fit or this or that, and just say, hey, man, he's fun, and we look forward. I know that you start comparing. I saw a lot of the contrast to him and Emmanuel Quickly. I see it. They even shoot the same. They kind of have the same shooting motion.
Like sometimes they like lunge forward.
Yeah,
they have very. It's kind of like his
skinny guy shooting
his handle and finishes. It's like almost never the same, you know.
Yeah. Skinny guys just have a way of playing. Will Barton's skinny that we compare him to him as well. So, all right. Well, good stuff there, Vote. We'll let you hop off here before we do our final segment where we're just going to talk about the depth chart. But yeah, that was a good roundup. It's good to hear so many people positive about the Nuggets.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's look. What I really dreaded was just a super, super boring pick. Like, it could have been a guy none of us had on the board that's just like, a really boring safe pick.
Totally, man.
it's just fun. Like so many of these last few drafts, we've had sort of little to no expectations for like big splashes, and you get something fun at the very least. So appreciate Tim Connolly, Hooper.
Definitely a Hooper, man. Definitely a Hooper. All right, buddy. Have a good one. Have a great weekend, even.
Yeah, you too.
Let's take our final break. On the other side, we will do a quick look at the depth chart for the Nuggets and just kind of talk about, if we visualize it, maybe it'll help set the table for free agency.
Mm-hmm. Also, a couple reported Summer League additions, too.
Oh, yeah, we got to get to those first.
Right now at DraftKings, they are America's top-rated sportsbook. Speaking of America, our top athletes are over in Tokyo competing for the gold, and DraftKings has a medal-worthy offer just for listeners. Right now, you can place any pre-event wager of $1 to be eligible to cash $100 in free credits if America wins any medal this year. That's 100-to-1 odds on any American athlete to stand on the podium and receive a gold, silver, or bronze medal this week. DraftKings always super easy to use. Besides this promo, they've got tons of other odds boosts, promos going on all week. Every sport. Make some money on DraftKings this weekend. So to do that, you got to download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app. When you do that, use promo code DNVR when you sign up. You can turn $1 into $100 in free site credits if America wins a medal. That's code DNVR to turn $1 into $100 in free credits. For a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook, of course, you must be 21 or older, Colorado only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. Before I forget, Dev on the show last night. What do you go, 6 of 6 or 5 of 5?
5 of 5 officially, and then I think 6 of 7 unofficially. Like his 2 unofficial ones, I think he was 1 of 2.
So I think what we learned from this is Dev should be doing the mock draft.
He should be doing the mock drafts, man. He had some intel. Yeah, I made like $50 last night. Thanks, Dev.
At Hassel Cattle Company, they've got awesome deals going on for DNVR members. You guys can get 10% off your entire purchase. All you got to do is use the code DNVR10 at checkout. That's code DNVR10 to save 10% every time at HassleCattleCompany.com. If you're in Denver, if you're local, stop by the DNVR bar, get a Hassel Cattle Company Wagyu beef burger right here at the DNVR bar. It's our regular burger. It comes with Hassel Cattle Company Wagyu beef. It's awesome, super tasty. So make sure to pick one of those up if you're in the area. If you're not local, go to HassleCattleCompany.com. Use that promo code DNVR10 for 10% off your order. That's code DNVR10 for 10% off your order at HassleCattleCompany.com. And finally, another one of my favorite things to eat, Illegal Pete's. They've got a location that I went to yesterday before the draft show. I stopped into Illegal Pete's for lunch. They've got happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m., $1 off drafts, $1 off house and corn style margs, $1 off large chips and queso. And if you're drinking at the bar, you get free chips and salsa. That's what I love about Illegal Pete's. They give the
A+
people what
chips,
they
by the
want.
way. I love their chips.
Great chips and salsa. They've also got a sound check promotion going on that offers a free draft beer or house marg with the purchase of an adult entree when you show a same-day ticket to any event. So if you're going to a Rockies game or something, stop into Illegal Pete's before or after. They've got tons of locations across Denver or across Colorado, I believe. 6 of them in total, including one on East Colfax right next to the DNVR bar.
Perfect. All right, final segment here. It's going to be a quick one. We got an update on some of the Summer League roster guys. By the way, guys, DNVR going to be live at Summer League.
Oh, man.
For Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I'm very excited for it. D-Line, Vote, myself, Wind, all going to be out there. It's going to be wild. DNVR does Vegas.
I don't even know what to expect, to be honest.
I don't either. So it should be very interesting. But it will be nice, like, to get to watch Bones Hyland's first Summer League game will be a big deal.
Man.
So, obviously Zeke Naji, there's no shortage of the team. If Bol plays, there's no shortage of storylines for Summer League. And that, by the way, starts, guess when? A week from Sunday.
Jesus.
A week from Sunday. We're going to be in Vegas. How wild is that? So there you go. But all right, so we got a couple of names added to it. We know so far, we know Bones Hyland, Zeke Naji. That's it. We assume Marcus Howard will likely get an invite, and we think Bol, if he's still on the roster, I kind of doubt that one, but he might get there as well. Yeah. I'm not sure who else. Oh, Caleb Agata. We know he'll be there.
Caleb Agata, yes.
But now we have a couple other names.
So this is reported. I haven't seen anything official, but Zylan Cheatham.
Wow, he wasn't on my big board, so tell me a little bit about him.
Well, he's been in the league for a bit. He's 25 years old, originally out of Arizona State, went undrafted, I believe, in 2018 or 2019.
Okay.
He's interesting. He was a two-way player for the Pelicans 2 years ago. He played in the G League for the Iowa Wolves last year. He's like a 6'5" power forward.
All right, let's do it.
Doesn't shoot threes, averaged 10.5 points, 8 rebounds per game last year.
8 rebounds at 6'5". I love it.
He is, I think, known for his defense.
Okay.
Kind of really sound perimeter interior defender at 6'5". So we'll see how he does. The other guy, Georgi, I don't even want to attempt to pronounce his last name.
That tough?
Benzhanishvili.
What?
Yeah. He's originally from Georgia.
Okay.
Not the Georgia in the United States.
Thank you.
He played his last 3 seasons at the University of Illinois. He just went undrafted. His senior year at Illinois, actually, he had a very interesting career at Illinois. I'm curious to get the backstory, but his stats decreased every year.
Wow.
He averaged 12.5 points as a freshman or his first year there, then 6.8, then 5.1 last year. His playing time also went down as well. But he's like a 6'9" big man, interior player, European. Don't know much about him other than that. Not really a shooter. So maybe could just be a body for summer league.
All right. Well, so a lot of those guys are just a body. So maybe he's one of those, maybe not. We'll find out as this roster comes together. I imagine, I don't remember what it's like every year, but they come together for camp ahead of it. So I imagine they come back together for camp Tuesday of next week, I would guess.
Early next week, probably.
Maybe Monday, but probably Tuesday of next week. So we'll probably get the rest of that roster today or over the weekend.
Charles Class, got to coach him up.
Charles Class coaching.
Yes, Charles
Head
Class.
coach Charles Class. All right. I'm excited for that. Kale, why don't we pull up the depth chart real quick here? We've only got a couple minutes, about 5 minutes here, but I want to rush through this depth chart just to kind of visualize it so we can see. And we get all the positions there. We see Murray is in the red. Because, of course, he's going to be out for most of the season. We got the rest of the guys in red are all, questionable. We don't know if they're on the roster. So if we just start, just right off the bat, Murray, Barton, question marks. You already have a question mark in your backcourt. Like, you're already starting from there. Michael Porter, Aaron Gordon, Jokic, pretty confident that's going to be your 3-4-5 on opening night.
Yes.
What stands out to you when you kind of look at this depth chart?
They don't have a backup small forward. That's what stands out to me.
I agree. and in years past, you've just gone with the 3-guard lineup off the bench, right?
Right.
But now you have so few guards that you can't even do that. So if you assume, as I do, that you're probably going to have Monte and PJ Dozier as your starting 1-2, or maybe you bring back one other guy that leapfrogs, or Will Barton. I'm sorry, one of those two guys. But let's say Barton, let's throw him out for a second because I want to make the point. If he's not there and Murray's not there to start, all right, PJ and Monte, that might work. But then behind it, what do you have? All of a sudden behind that, and I actually can't see it anymore, but yeah, you have Bones and you have Facu. Like Facu, okay, rotation piece. Bones, like my God, right off the bat throwing him out there, or Marcus Howard. I just can't see it. So no question, when I look at this, I just think it really highlights how important Barton is, or Barton's replacement if that's the route Denver has to go.
And Denver's not going to have a ton of money to spend if they need to find a replacement for Will Barton. That's the other thing. Like, if Will Barton's not here, do you turn to Austin Rivers?
Yeah.
I maybe. Austin Rivers seemed to enjoy his time here. I thought he played pretty well, all things considered, for just coming from a free agent and just being thrust into really meaningful minutes. So I like Austin Rivers. I'd be very cool with having him back, but he's a big step down from Will Barton still.
Right.
You know, and I mean, I think if that scenario happens, yeah, you're looking at PJ Dozier as your starting 2-guard.
You're realistic guys like an Alec Burks. You know, if you lose Barton and you play, I'm speaking your language over here. Look at this. Like, is this a good, does that work out for you?
I mean, I love Alec Burks, but there's a reason he's bounced around to like 6 different teams throughout his career.
even like a Langston Galloway or Josh Hart or one of these guys, like, are they good play? I'm intrigued, but Will Barton provides a little bit of scoring that you're desperately going to need without Murray there.
Will Barton, yes, he's had injuries, but he's a known commodity. You know what you're getting from Will Barton.
Also, you know what Will Barton has done for 3 years in a row? Yes, he's gotten hurt, but he's also carried the team when other guys got hurt in the regular season.
Right.
Honestly,
and,
so like he's very experienced in exactly what Denver's going to ask him to do.
Right. And the last couple of years, he's just gotten hurt like at the end of the year.
Right. One
because a lot of people had been out throughout the year, and he's just had to carry a big load in big minutes.
So, by the way, Bones Hyland just tweets out just a moment ago. By the way, Bones Hyland retweets again. You already got the Bones Hyland retweet.
Yeah, apparently.
How's it feel?
Yeah. Feels all right. Feels fine.
Dev did as well. I did not, partly because I didn't really tweet about it. But he says, "I think we live, bro, big bro." Could be we live. I think we live is probably what he's saying. They picked the right killer. Will to thrill. Can't wait to get out there. So he already is like hitting Will Barton up, saying, "Can't wait to get out there."
Yeah.
We put our tinfoil hat on. Is he
Will
back?
Barton going to be out there?
That's what I'm saying. Would you say that unless you were like pretty confident?
Look, I've maintained that I think there's a strong possibility Will Barton's back. I think Will Barton wants to be back.
Do you know in Godfather when Pantangeli thinks that he's going to testify against the Corleones, so they fly his brother in? Do you remember this? Do you guys anybody catch this reference? Do you think this is what they're doing with Barton? Is they brought in Bones? They're like, hey, just tweet at Barton, just be like, hey, excited to be with you, lifelong dream of mine to play alongside you.
No, I don't think a rookie is going to convince Will Barton to make a monumental choice and sign here in Denver.
The other thing, I mean, we talked about small forward. So to me, yes, this group, I don't know that you fill this with guards. We do have Marcus and Rivers down there. I don't know that I would feel comfortable with either of those guys, as much as I like them both, either of those guys becoming a third guard so that you play 3-guard lineups. What is your 3-guard lineup? Facu, Marcus, PJ, like that's incredibly tiny. Facu, Rivers, PJ. Okay, there's nobody that can really shoot.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I look at that and I almost think Rivers, Marcus. I kind of don't think they'll be back.
Look, I think what Austin Rivers was able to do last year when he got to Denver, I mean, he played pretty well.
Yeah,
I think he definitely upped his value across the league.
Yeah,
because of what he showed in Denver. So, if Barton comes back. Yeah, I don't think I would anticipate Rivers coming back, but if Barton doesn't, you certainly go to Austin. You're like, all right, we can offer you a little more money.
Yeah,
a way bigger role.
Do you feel? I don't feel this way. So if you go to the center position, J. Mike, who knows if he's back? But if he is gone, now you have a 3-big rotation, and your Michael Porter can slide down to power forward, but.
You need another big man.
Maybe you need JaVale. Maybe you think Chanchar can be another backup and Zeke slides to center. I
think backup center is a big need for this team.
Yeah.
I really do, because you didn't have a reliable one last year, and you saw what that did with Nikola Jokic's minutes.
Yeah. If the way I look at it is, I think if you just said in order of need right now, I would say if Barton's back, small forward number 1, and then probably a guard and then a center.
Yeah.
If Barton's not back, I think you look at a guard, small forward, and then center's a distant third.
You know, I say that, but like the Paul Millsap to Michael Green combo, it was okay.
It was fine.
Right. It was fine. So let me take that back for a second. Like that was not the reason that Nikola Jokic played so many minutes. Actually.
By the way, one of the themes of the draft this year, Plumlee signed for a big contract last year, traded for cap space, to get rid of. Favors, same thing. Like, a lot of these guys that got centers last year are selling them off this year, so maybe it's going to not be as important next year. I don't know. Yeah. But we gotta wrap up this show, guys. Lots of draft coverage, obviously, from us over the last 15 hours or so. If you missed any of it, I highly encourage you to go back and check it out. It was a lot of fun to do. And then over the weekend, next week, a list. I can't wait to get into the film and start doing a list on Bones Hyland. I'm very, very excited about it. It's my bread and butter, getting into the actual film study. So looking forward to that. I know Harrison is working on a piece as well. So we'll have some written content up behind the paywall for DNVR members only. Hope everybody has a fantastic weekend and comes back next week ready for free agency. Going to do it all over again.
League.
And Summer League after that. We'll see ya.